The Deepvue Terminal is something we're very proud of, and it's something we're always going to be iterating on. So what you see right now is V1, and we're always going to be adding features, integrating it more into our screening process, into our data points, all of that, and basically allowing you to make use of it to speed up your workflows in any way that you can think of. So what does IonQ stock do? So here we go. IonQ is a quantum computing company, develops and sells access to trapped ion quantum computers, both as hardware and through cloud-based services. You might notice that ticker symbols are clickable. And what that allows you to do is quickly, as it's explaining this stuff, all of these are basically clickable. So you can go ahead and load QBTS. You can load RGTI. So it's very interactive and interplays really nicely with the chart itself to speed up that research workflow. And basically, I'm telling Deepvue AI to be my situational awareness coach. And I give it a bunch of details about what to consider. So it gives you some thoughts on whether breakouts or pullbacks are likely to work based on, recent price action, themes that have the strongest, action, leadership, all this stuff, MAC exposure, margin, and this is all based on the prompt itself. So if you want to tweak the prompt that we create, you can add in details based on whether you're more of a position trader or a day trader, and add in details that are specific to you. The better context that it has about your trading style, the better it's going to be able to give you guys results in the prompts themselves. Just learning about Deepvue and learning about different concepts. Maybe you see a data point that you don't fully understand. We trained it on our knowledge base. So you'd be able to ask it something like, what is an oops reversal, for instance? So this is an entry tactic that we utilize and you can screen for in the platform. So this is kind of defining and helping you learn the concepts, but we'll be taking it a step further to more fully integrate it into Deepvue's capabilities and allow you to kind of research the concept a little bit more and become a little bit smarter. Be very specific. A vague question is going to get a vague answer, and often we want very precise answers. So I would really recommend being very specific with what you want Deepvue AI to do, and that will help get better results. Context that you would want Deepvue to consider. So if there's a term that you commonly use that's obviously standard vernacular for our community, you'd want to kind of explain that so it understands that and just understands your question that much better. The more context you give it, the better it'll be able to form that answer to your liking. So the first question was, do you ever use AI in your trading process right now? And about 42% of folks said yes, and 58% of people said no. So hopefully after tonight, we'll shift that all those no's into yeses, and the yeses will use it even more. Then question number 2, do you think AI could help save you time while trading? And if you're attending this webinar, it makes sense to say yes. So 97% of folks said yes, which I would 100% agree with. I think in helping out, researching stocks, there's so many different case studies, and we'll go over a bunch of today. For the folks who said no, not sure why you're here, just joking. But hopefully we can change your mind here today and get you making use of a fantastic tool that is AI, and showcase how it can save you time during your routines, looking up companies, learning the stories behind stocks, all of that. So this should be awesome. So let's go ahead and I'll stop sharing the poll here and let's get going here. So welcome everybody to the first Deepvue AI webinar. Super excited to be doing this. We just launched the terminal feature, which is both a side panel and a element in our dashboard that you can use to interact with our Deepvue AI. And today we're going to be doing an AI demo running through a bunch of use cases. I'll be giving a ton of prompts that I personally use and develop, and we'll discuss how to use it correctly and how it can save you time during your routine. So thanks so much for tuning in, and let's dive in. So first things first, key goals of the webinar. We'll introduce the new Deepvue Terminal feature, showcase how to access and enter prompts using Deepvue Terminal, and then we'll discuss a bunch of Deepvue specific prompts designed to save you time for market analysis, stock analysis, all this, and offer some general guidance on how to best use the Deepvue AI. So if we accomplish these 4 things, I think we did a great webinar here today. Here's the general agenda. First, we'll discuss, the new feature, the Deepvue Terminal AI, a simple AI workflow, Deepvue prompts for market analysis, situational awareness, finding leading themes, analyzing companies, trading education, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on future ideas that we can bring to the platform. So really looking forward to this, and let's keep going. First, I know many of you guys are already members, but if you're interested in joining Deepvue and trying this out, live with me right now, definitely go ahead and email us at hello@deepvue.com and mention Black Friday, and we'll send you over the details for the Black Friday deal. And if you're an existing member and want to extend your subscription, also go ahead and email hello@deepvue.com and mention Black Friday extension. We've had a ton of people already come through, extend multiple years. So if you'd like to lock in a great price, definitely go ahead and reach out to us. And here is a quick preview of the Deepvue Terminal feature right here that we just launched on Friday, on yesterday. So let's go ahead and keep going. Okay. So the Deepvue Terminal, we're super excited to bring this to life, and this is something that's been in the works for quite some time. We've kept it under wraps. We wanted to surprise everybody, and hopefully, you guys were. And it's something we're very proud of, and it's something we're always going to be iterating on. So what you see right now is V1, and we're always going to be adding features, integrating it more into our screening process, into our data points, all of that, and basically allowing you to make use of it to speed up your workflows in any way that you can think of. So this is something we're very, very, very proud of. Here's just a quick helpful guide of how to access the terminal. And of course, we're going to show live demos today, guys. It's not just going to be screenshots here. Just want to make sure everybody is aware of it. So this is the screener module. It's also accessible in the watch list module. To open up the Deepvue Terminal panel, what you want to do is go up here to the top right and click the AI icon right here. That will open up this panel and replace the data panel if you've got that open. And you can also, just like the data panel icon, close it again to close the terminal chat whenever you'd like to. And over here, you've got a clear chat button here. You can click that to bring it back to this kind of native screen, which has some recommended prompts to get started with. And this screen will update based on the actual stock that you're looking at. So it knows what stock that you're looking at, and that way you can easily and quickly ask questions about that stock. Down here is where you would type out a prompt of your own, and we'll be adding a lot of presets, just like we have a lot of screen presets. You'll be able to load prompt presets from ourselves, from other top traders that we work with, and basically be able to very quickly access those prompts and copy and paste them or load them in here, press enter, and then that sends it off to the Deepvue AI for analysis, and it brings back your result. Here are the recommended just starter prompts that you can click and run right away. And of course, we'll get into some more advanced ones here today in the session. In addition to being in the screener and watch list module, it's in the dashboard module itself, and this allows you to get very creative, make it full screen if you want. And basically all you have to do is, of course, create a new dashboard that will create a blank slate, and I'll actually show you this just later on. And then you want to go over to the add widget button, which is over here, and then scroll down to the Deepvue Terminal widget, drag that in, resize it, make it whatever you size you want. And of course, you can add in a screener module, you can add in a watch list module, a chart module, and very shortly things will be a lot more integrated. So it'll be very helpful to be able to access the Deepvue AI panel right along with a chart or a theme tracker and stuff like that. And it'll be able to draw on that information that you have elsewhere in the dashboard. Okay. And I see a question, what model are we using? We're integrating a lot of different models, and it's kind of smart routing. Basically, depending on the question that is asked, we're using different models that will provide the best results for that specific question. So we're not using one specific model. We're integrating a lot of them into the platform, and adding some bells and whistles to make it the best experience for you guys, as possible, and make it as useful as possible to save you time. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, so this is, again, how you locate in the dashboard module. And just like when it's in a side panel, you can ask these quick prompts, or you can paste in or write anything in here and send it our way. Of course, you're limited to finance-related, stock trading-related questions. That's the whole purpose of this AI. You wouldn't want to ask this about a recipe or a cocktail. We want to keep it trading focused. And I do want to mention, we're going to be adding a lot of features and abilities to the AI. For instance, the ability to have multiple chats open at once. Again, those AI prompts that we'll be adding. So there's going to be a lot of additions to this. This is just kind of the current first iteration here. Okay. Deepvue AI, this is just the start. This is kind of what I was getting at. We're going to be integrating this into all of our features and expanding the capabilities. And just in the chat right now, let me know, what would you most want to use Deepvue AI for? What use cases come to mind when you think about the capabilities of AI and how it could save you time? I want to see a few questions here. All right, let's see. Screening, yep, natural language screener, fundamental and technical analysis, sectors, parsing earnings reports. We'll talk about that here today. Perfect. News catalyst, we'll talk about that today. Excellent. Yep. So chart pattern detection, that's something we'll work on. Competitor analysis, 100%. Very nice. Help and support, yes, for sure. So using Deepvue better, learning about data points, all of that. All of this stuff are things that we're planning on and are in our pipeline. So this is fantastic. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and open up Deepvue and show some simple workflows and actually bring it to life here. So let me go over to Deepvue. And again, this is the screener module. So here is the watchlist module. Here is the screener module. And to open up, and let me zoom in here so it's a little clearer. Right here in the top right, we've got a bunch of icons. One opens the stats table, one the data panel. But here you want to click the AI assistant, and that opens up the panel here. So now, right now, if you take a look at Deepvue, we've got the Deepvue leader screen, which is kind of our go-to growth stock can slim general screen. It typically has 200 to 350 names of, the top names in leading stocks and leading groups. So this is kind of a standard screen here. And you can see right now we've got NVIDIA loaded. It knows that we've got NVIDIA loaded. We can ask it questions. And as you spacebar through, let's go here. Let's X out NVIDIA here. As you spacebar through, you can see it updates and knows what stock you're actually looking at, and you're able to quickly access it here in Deepvue. So let's go ahead and do IONQ. So what does IONQ stock do? Let's go ahead and let it think here. And follow along with me, guys. If you've got it running at home, go ahead and try things out, and let me know if you run into any questions or stuff like that. So here we go. IonQ is a quantum computing company. It develops and sells access to trapped ion quantum computers, both as hardware and through cloud-based services. And it gives you some different things. You might notice that ticker symbols are clickable, and what that allows you to do is say, I go ahead and say, list out stocks related to the quantum thing. So Marty, you had a question about, investigating themes. You're able to ask it something like this, and then any ticker that shows up is clickable. And what that allows you to do is quickly, as it's explaining this stuff, we'll give it just a second to finish. All of these are basically clickable. So you can go ahead and load QBTS, go ahead and load Google, you can load RGTI. So it's very interactive and interplays really nicely with the chart itself to speed up that research workflow. Okay, so this is a very simple workflow. Obviously, we're just kind of asking it basic questions here where, we're going through the Deepvue leader screener. If there's a stock that catches our eye, we can quickly go ahead and load, a question. We can clear the chat to go ahead back to this. We can ask it, maybe we notice a theme like BBAI. We can go ahead and say, what are some similar stocks to BBI? Press enter, and we can go ahead and let it do its thing. Let's see if there's any questions just right now. Corey says, love the clickable feature, 100%. Yep, so here it's listing out some similar names to BBAI. That you can go ahead and investigate further. So it's another way to see themes. Just like how, if we just go back to the data panel in a second, you can go ahead and in the industry group itself, load the top 10 stocks very easily. This is another workflow that once you notice a stock that's doing something interesting, like gapping up on earnings or breaking out altogether, you can go ahead and ask the AI assistant, Deepvue AI, other stocks related to it. And that's another workflow to try to investigate those themes a little bit further. All right. Cool. So Marty asked, is it limited to queries on a specific individual stock? How about industries, themes, etc.? Yes, all that it can do. So you can dive deeper into the solar theme, tell me about solar stocks and the theme. What stocks are in that theme? And there's just a basic off-the-fly question. And obviously you can have prepared prompts, and we'll get to about 10 examples of those that dive a lot deeper and can get more specific answers. There you go, FSLR, EMPH, all of this, JKS, there we go. And you can learn a little bit more here. So it's a great research tool. All right. And it's got context, it's got memory, so it remembers recent questions. We're going to be expanding the capabilities to make it smarter and learn more about you. And that's the thing about the separate chats. Once we add that feature, per chat, it can have memory and interact more with your questions and learn more and become more specific to your use case. Okay. So that's kind of the first AI workflow I wanted to show you guys, just going through stocks on the Deepvue leader screen, spacebarring through, and having the ability to just quickly ask it questions about the stock that you're looking at using either a written prompt here or one of the quick access ones here. So I've got that copied. We're going to go back to Deepvue, and let's go ahead and look at these things in the Deepvue terminal. And let's go ahead and clear it here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this first prompt. And Paul asked, can you add highlighted tickers to a watch list? Basically what we're going to do is under that, in the side panel, we're going to add a feature where all the tickers that it mentions right in there will be able to copy easily to either your clipboard or to a watch list that you've already created. So yeah, Paul, that's a great idea. We'll be adding that. Marty, right now, because we don't have quick access prompts, what I would suggest you do is go ahead and save it elsewhere. So here we've got, it's writing out its answer here. So I would go ahead and save it on a Google Drive, a folder on your desktop itself, and then just copy and paste any prompts as you'd like to include them. Okay. So this one investigated, the current regime from the Fed, the inflation rate, the 2-year, the 10-year, recent announcements. So this gives a great up-to-date, analysis of what the overall macro environment is like. You can see some likely dates here for the next FOMC meeting, CPI, MFP. So you can really dive deeper into, this aspect of trading, the overall macro backdrop. There we go. And what's awesome about these prompts, and one of the recommendations I'm going to make, is you can really decide the format and how long you want a response to be. So this prompt is likely something that you would run maybe once a week at most to get an update up to date if there's any key FOMC related news. And basically, you could decide whether it's going to be more of a brief, a quick TLDR, or you can decide, give your response in bullets, break it down. In the prompt itself, you want to kind of define the format that you want Deepvue AI to give the result in. So this one is a longer one. Again, you'd probably run this weekly to maybe once a month when there's been some updates to the Fed's posture and the overall kind of macro environment. You can see a shift in tone. In summer 2025, the Fed was still considering holding rates steady or hinting at it higher for longer. But late October, where kind of the narrative flipped, monetary policy needed to pivot dovish to support employment before it deteriorated further. So again, this creates those longer term trends in the market. That's why this can be helpful even for swing traders to be up to date with kind of the longer term macro picture. So that's the second prompt that we're covering. The first one is more about defining the trends of the market. So you would basically want to say, hey, define trends based on the 21 EMA, the 50 SMA. Are we in an uptrend on the indexes or not? And we'll go ahead and update that prompt and get it working. But it always does take a little bit of iteration. Okay. So that is the second prompt there. Let's get into situational awareness now. So this would be something that you would prompt it maybe every day at the open. So let me go ahead and copy this prompt here. And here we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and just clear the chat. Clear. And we're going to paste it in. And basically, I'm acting it as my, I'm telling Deepvue AI to be my situational awareness coach. And I give it a bunch of details about what to consider. And it's supposed to give me kind of a report about how aggressive in the market should I be, maybe some potential exposure, amounts that it would recommend. Again, you should always take everything with a grain of salt. You are in charge of your own trading, but this gives you a guide there based on kind of the prompt that you define. So let's go ahead and run that. And it's going to decide, are breakouts likely to work? All of that stuff based on everything that you tell it and the data it's got available. So this would be something, like I said, you might run every morning before the open to give you kind of an up-to-date, analysis of the market environment. So it gives you some thoughts on whether breakouts or pullbacks are likely to work based on, recent price action, themes that have the strongest, action, leadership, all this stuff, MAC exposure, margin, and all this. And this is all based on the prompt itself. So if you want to tweak the prompt that we create, you can add in details based on whether you're more of a position trader or a day trader, and add in details that are specific to you. The better context that it has about your trading style, the better it's going to be able to give you guys results in the prompts themselves. Okay. So the next prompt we're going to run is, we just did this one, the situational awareness daily breakdown. Now let's talk about finding leading themes prompt. So let's give it some thoughts here, and let's do its thing. So let me go ahead and copy this one. And there we go. Copy this over. And this would be something that you might do in addition to doing the theme tracker and your own analysis. This could be something for confirmation or something that you run first just to have a quick idea of the market. So let's go ahead and clear the chat and paste this one in. And this one is on finding leading themes, and I'll just delete everything that's not the prompt there. Okay. So I give it a lot of the themes that we look at: miners, Bitcoin miners, oil and gas, genomics, solar, social media, a lot of stuff that's in the theme tracker itself, and it's going to give its own take on the market movements. There we go. And we're going to give it more context and real-time data so you can do this. All right. So this is just an idea for a screen. And this, of course, you can always double check with the theme tracker itself. Obviously miners were doing extremely well last Friday, acting well. Genomics, gold miners, those have been acting well. Biotech is one of the current themes based on the theme tracker that you can see right here. So that prompt would just be confirmation, or give a little bit more context that you can dive in. Hey, what catalyst might be driving the biotech move currently in the markets? Okay. So let's do the next one here. So this is getting into analyzing specific companies. So an earnings deep dive. So in the chat right now, let me know a stock that you'd like to hear my thoughts, hear the Deepvue's thoughts on its latest earnings report. So give me a ticker here. Let me know a stock here. All right, we've got a few here. Nvidia, we'll do Nvidia here. Unless other people want different stocks here, we'll do Nvidia. But let's go ahead and copy the prompts. And here we go. And let's go back to the AI dashboard, clear chat, paste that in. Let's see, we'll do Tesla here. So you want to, of course, replace the ticker with Tesla. And let's go ahead and run this thing. So it's looking for stuff, earnings, margins, guidance, announcements. If there's a share buyback, it's going to look for that, all this stuff. So it showed a mixed results. And this is a little bit about how you can define the format it's going to output things in, because in this prompt itself, I told it to have all of these key sections: guidance, big picture takeaways, new products developments and strategic moves, margins, all of this, and to start everything with a quick TLDR. So if you just want a quick look at the earnings report, right after they announce, you can go ahead and run this and it'll give you this right away. And also the metrics and all this stuff. So this will be a really useful one, I think, for traders when they just want a quick take on whether the earnings report was good or not. What are the key metric discussed? You could ask it to highlight, three key quotes from the conference. It will go ahead and output those. So that can be really helpful. There's a question, Vinod. Can you run a prompt to show fundamental analysis in a relative scoring method? So all you would have to do, and we'll probably define this, is you would define what your qualitative scoring method would be, and then that would be a prompt. You'd say, hey, this is the scoring system. I want you to take Tesla's most recent earnings report, run it through this process, and give me your score at the end of the day. So all you would do is have to define that in a prompt and go ahead and plug that into Deepvue AI, and you can go ahead and do that. Okay. Renee says, just need to AI to let us know the timing for when Tesla will finally break out. Dream scenario. Yep. Well, we'll see if we can develop that for you. Cool. Albert, really good question. Please drop that in the Q&A, and we'll talk about that later. Because again, I want to hear your takes on ideas for us to iterate on this. Yep. Okay. So the next example prompt here is diving more just into the company's story. So this might be something that you run as you're going through the Deepvue leader screen, and a new ticker comes up that you haven't seen before, and you just want to learn more about it. So let's go ahead and copy this prompt here. And let me just copy that. Okay. So again, let me know in the chat here one ticker that you want me to run this one on. So a ticker that you want to learn more a little bit about. We got CLS. Let's see, SATS. Okay. Let's keep it going. Figma, Open, FLNC. We'll do FLNC. Let's see. Let's see what it comes up with here. Let's paste this in. And then let's do FLNC. There we go. Or should we do Open? Let's do FLNC first, and then we'll maybe also do one more. So again, I'd like to start my prompts with a 4-sentence TLDR. I think that's a good starting thing because it just gets everything going. And if you just want a quick response, that way you can get the gist of it without reading through the whole response. But let's see what it comes up with for FLNC. Ricardo, yeah, you could spacebar through things. Spacebar or use the arrow keys. Okay. Nice. So in this prompt, it highlights any recent potentially game-changing opportunities. Gives you a little bit about stocks price performance. And key things to watch going forward as well. So we've got some tailwinds, Inflation Reduction Act, global push towards renewables. So this is involved in the AI energy theme. Headwinds, it gives you headwinds as well. So it gives you the primary themes. So clean energy, renewable energy, grid modernization, onshoring, supply chain, software SaaS as well. And it gives you a little bit about the story behind the company. So this is a great prompt to run if you're completely new to a stock. So let's run it with one more ticker. So let's see what we're, yeah, talk about time saving. Exactly. Awesome. Jim, we've done a lot of work behind the scenes to prevent as much hallucination as we can. Obviously, it's AI, so that's one of the things to think about as you run things through is any really important stuff, you want to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper. This is kind of to give you that first overview, and then you can ask it more questions. You can go to the website itself once you've gotten that quick overview. Okay, let's do one more stock. Jim, give me a stock. What are you curious about recently? Ayo. Okay, let's do it. There we go. And we can do CRDO after. That'd be interesting. Right now, we don't have the sources clickable, but that's something that we could add as well. But it's kind of up to everybody. All right, there you go. They sell jeans. Very nice. Specialty retail, which retail's been popping up. There we go. So there's the breakdown of AEO there. Cool. Yeah, Adam. Yes, it is. Yeah, TLDR stands for too long didn't read. So I like including a quick TLDR at the very beginning to give you that overview, and then of course you can read further to learn more. Awesome. All right, let's dive into the next prompt here. So we just did the company story, learning more a little bit about that. Let's talk about gap ups and breaking that down, because you might see a stock gapped up 3 weeks ago, and you might have to go dive deeper into what actually caused that. So this prompt is designed to help you with that. So let's go ahead and I'll copy over that prompt, and let's think of some recent gaps to analyze here. All right. Do do do. Let me copy it here. And paste this. Let's clear chat. All right. What stock do we want to do? Uh, let's do Intel, I think. And what was the date that it gapped up on? Let's go ahead over to the screener, bring it up, and let's just ask it in here actually. So INTC. Let's say you're going back and studying a model book move. This could be something to say, okay, there's huge volume on that day, a breakout move or a gap up. What was the catalyst that led to that? So this was on September 18th. So let's go ahead and paste this in here. And INTC and September 18th, 2025. And there we go. Go ahead and run that. Yep, so I highlighted the high profile investment by NVIDIA. So that was the key catalyst there. The gap was massive, so it gives you a little bit of context. And there you go. So this can be really helpful. Like you said, if you're going back and studying a model book, from 2016 or something, it might be hard to track down the news. But this would allow you to, streamline that workflow. Just give that specific date, and it will look for the news on that day. And sometimes it happens on the day before, because obviously it might be earnings the day before that leads to a gap up in the morning. So we want to make sure to include that as well. So that's an example of the catalyst kind of investigative prompt there. All right. So we did that one, and then just learning about Deepvue and learning about different concepts. Maybe you see a data point that you don't fully understand. We trained it on our knowledge base, so you'd be able to ask it something like, "What is?" If I can actually type. I accessed the Zoom tools. So there we go. What is an oops reversal, for instance? So this is an entry tactic that we utilize, and you can screen for in the platform. So we can go ahead and ask it that, and it'll give the answer. And like I said, we'll make it more integrated later on. So say you could go ahead and after you learn about the pattern, you could say, we'll have one of the suggestions be create a screen using oops reversals, or give me 5 examples of an oops reversal over the past 2 weeks. and those will be just a click away. So this is kind of defining and helping you learn the concepts, but we'll be taking it a step further to more fully integrate it into Deepvue's capabilities and allow you to kind of research the concept a little bit more and become a little bit smarter. So that's an example here. Let's see here. In addition to what's an oops reversal, let me see, what was the other, define the Deepvue RMV indicator. How is it used? So Deepvue indicator looks for expansion and contraction. You can see INTC definitely expanded earlier here. So there we go. It gives you a nice definition. So there's a quick way, if you have a question about a Deepvue data point and something like that, you can go ahead and use the Deepvue AI to ask it a question and dive deeper into the concept. And then, of course, we've got videos, we've got written articles that expand even further. Awesome. And I see a question, will I be giving these prompts? Yes, I'll clean everything up and make sure they're all working perfectly, and then I'll send them over likely tomorrow. Okay. There's a good question from Raphael. How does Deepvue AI differentiate from simply using ChatGPT or Gemini? The difference is it's fully integrated into our ecosystem. You don't have to go somewhere else. Ticker symbols that show up here are clickable, and you can quickly bring them up into your chart. If the goal is to save you time, you don't want to have to be clicking through 4 different sources and different tabs. You want everything all together. You want to be able to make a screen right from a result in the AI. So it's just all more integrated, and it's going to be a lot more tuned towards our specific use cases as swing traders and momentum traders. So we're going to get better results than a more general ChatGPT would be able to, because it's trained on different material and has basically a different context. So that's the answer to that really good question. Okay. Good question. How can you trust the data information that your AI delivers? What's the source of the data information? Can this AI made up something? So like all AIs, it integrates knowledge from different places on the web, all of this, and you always want to verify, very key information, but it gives a fantastic overview and is generally on the right track. It's just a guide that can save you time. It's like a research analyst. Just like a person can make a mistake, AI can make a mistake as well. So for anything very critical, you want to go ahead and double check, dive deeper, actually read the earnings report, investor relations page, all of that. So that's a really good question as well. And it's part about using AI effectively as a tool. You don't want to just blindly trust it. You want to go ahead and use it to save you time, but not, just, completely, avoid critical thinking. You want to completely use that and use your proper judgment. Okay. Cool. Esther asks, how are all the chats with AI saved? Where can I access them again under the same ticker or concepts? So right now there's one chat. So again, if you go from the side panel here back to the dashboard here, it's showing that same chat. One of the updates that we're working on it right now is the ability to save different chats. So maybe you'd have one per ticker or one per topic that you'd open here. Maybe you have one specifically for learning different trading concepts. Maybe you have one specifically for breaking down earnings reports. But right now, everything is just one chat. And we're going to be adding that feature in the near future to expand those capabilities. Okay, so let me see in the chat right now. Obviously, this is just a taste today of kind of the potential of how AI can speed up your workflows. But let me know in the chat right now, did you guys come up with at least one idea where you think this could save you time? I think the earnings report breakdown is a big one. I think that will save a lot of people time. No one wants to go ahead and read those reports. But there's a lot of other great use cases as well. So let me go ahead and share this again. So let me know in the chat, what was your kind of takeaway here? Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so just a quick slide on writing your own prompts as you investigate this and try this out. These are a few things that I'd keep in mind. First, be very specific. A vague question is going to get a vague answer, and often we want very precise answers. So I would really recommend being very specific with what you want Deepvue AI to do, and that will help get better results. Then, in addition to this, and this kind of goes hand in hand, give it context that you would want Deepvue to consider. So if there's a term that you commonly use that's obviously, standard vernacular for our community, you'd want to kind of explain that so it understands that and just understands, your question that much better. The more context you give it, the better it'll be able to form that answer to your liking. Also, similar to that, if you want to output the results in a table with, different columns, if you want the results as bullets, as a TLDR at the start and then bullets, let it know that. And that way you can easily create something that's very scannable, very easy to use, and very helpful. If you're running something before the market open, you want those results to be, very apparent to your question. And then my last bullet here is just, have fun with this, iterate and explore. And that way you'll come up with better prompts that are well suited to you and save you time, which is the end goal of Deepvue AI. So definitely go ahead and have fun with this, try it out, and get going. Okay. So again, let me know in the chat, what were some of your key takeaways from today? Which prompts do you think you'd actually use in real life to go ahead and save yourself time as you're getting used to this? And also answer in the chat, will you be using AI more in your trading for the research process or some other aspect, the learning process? That's a great use case as well. And you guys have given us a lot of ideas as well, but if you haven't already mentioned it, what other use cases would you like us to bring to Deepvue to integrate it more, to make it more useful for you? Let me know in the chat, your answers to these 3 questions here. Okay. Yeah, good one, Barbara. Barbara says, could really help for organizing one's thoughts, process analysis. Yeah, so like when we have the journal module, which we're working on right now, we could integrate your notes to yourself and how that plays. You could summarize your notes very quickly, see a day-by-day breakdown of how your notes evolved for a particular stock. That could be a use case. There's endless use cases, really. All right. Marty asks, can it analyze data in a data column set or screener watch list? So that's one of the next steps, Marty, is we're going to make it more smart with other Deepvue elements. So results in a screen, columns of that screen, what indicators you have on your chart, and if it's above or below a moving average, something like that, it will have that information and be able to use that in its answer. All right. Use it to grade stocks on a watch list based on set criteria by the user. Yes, I 100% agree. Cool. Marking up charts. Yep, for sure in the future. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of great ideas, guys. Nice. Perfect. All right. Well, I think that's all we wanted to cover today. We'll probably do some updated webinars on this topic in the future as we improve the AI, as we add features to it, and tailor it to make it that much more useful based on your guys' feedback. So again, if you're not familiar with us at Deepvue, our goal is to save you time, and I think this AI has huge potential to get that done. And we want to integrate your ideas as much as we can into the platform. So thank you guys all for your suggestions, your ideas here today. This was awesome. And again, if you haven't already, definitely check out the Deepvue Black Friday special offer. Email hello@deepvue.com and mention Black Friday for details. And if you're an existing member, you can also have an extension at a great rate. So go ahead and email us and say Black Friday extension for details, and we'll go ahead and send that over. Here's a few reactions from a few Deepvue members here, just when it was released Friday morning when they first got into it. Wow, this is going to change how we do everything. From Craig, massive upgrade, no more relying on external sites for news catalysts, company info, or competitor research. It's baked right into Deepvue, and this takes the platform to another level, Casey, and I agree. So I think, again, we're just scratching the surface here. This is V1, again, the beta, and we're going to make this extremely useful and hopefully save you guys a lot of time and help you find the leading themes, find the leading stocks, find top setups that much faster. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And I'll send over the recording shortly tomorrow probably. So thanks so much for your guys' attention, especially on a Saturday. Appreciate you guys. And I look forward to seeing all the prompts and great use cases that you guys come up with. And we'll see you guys in future ones. Cheers.